Friedrich Nietzsche, okay? Friedrich Nietzsche is one of the three great German philosophers of the past 500 years. Immanuel Kant, Friedrich Hegel, and Friedrich Nietzsche. And Friedrich Nietzsche wrote Thus Spoke Zarathustra. And he wrote it in a very interesting way. He likes to take these long walks. He can walk for like hours and hours in the mountains. And then now and then he feels as though he's being seized, okay? A force has seized him and compels him to speak. And he believes this person is Zarathustra, okay? So he wrote a book, and it's just a recollection of all the moments when he was seized by Zarathustra and forced to speak his words, all right? And when we actually read what Nietzsche writes, you will see that it's actually pretty similar to what Zarathustra himself promoted during his time. Of course, Nietzsche is promoting it in a more modern contemporary lens, okay? So if Zarathustra were to come back, he would basically be Nietzsche, okay? So in many ways, Nietzsche and Rumi are reincarnations of Zarathustra. They're all trying to speak a divine truth to humanity. All right, so this is the prologue, the first page of Thus Spake Zarathustra, okay? And what you will notice, okay, look for this. What you will notice is that this is exactly like the allegory of the cave, okay? All right. When Zarathustra was 30 years old, he left his home and the lake of his home and went into the mountains. There he enjoyed his spirit in his solitude, and for 10 years did not wear of it. But at last his heart changed, and rising one morning with a rosy dawn, he went before the sun and spake thus unto it. Thou great star, what would thy happiness if thou had not those for whom thou shinest? For 10 years hast thou climbed hither unto my cave. Thou would have weather of thy light and of the journey, had it not been for me, mine eagle and my serpent. But we awaited thee every morning, took from thee thine overflow, and blessed thee for it. Lo, I am weary of my wisdom, like the bee that hath gathered too much honey. I need hands outstretched to take it. I would fain bestow and distribute until the wise have once more become joyous in the folly, and the poor happy in their riches. Therefore must I descend into the deep, as thou dost in the evening, when thou go behind the sea, and give light also the nether world, thou exuberant star. Like thee must I go down, as men say, to whom I shall descend. Okay? So Zarathustra has hid himself in the cave. And inside the cave, in solitude, he has discovered Asha. He has discovered the secrets of the universe, and he's discovered that this is not enough. I must now go shine the light on everyone. Otherwise, I can never achieve Asha fully. Okay? So it's exactly like the allegory of the cave, where the prisoner, he escapes into the light, and he's happy until he realizes that you can't be happy alone. You have to share this happiness with everyone else, okay? So it's exactly like the allegory of the cave. All right, let's continue. Though implantest thy highest aim to the heart of those passions, then became thy virtues and joys. And though thou wert of the race of the hot-tempered, or the voluptuous, or the fanatical, or the vindictive, all thy passions in the end become virtues, and all thy devils and angels. Once had those wild dogs in thy cellar, but they change at last into birds and charming songstresses. Out of thy poisons breed thou balsam for thyself, thy cow affliction milk so. Thou drinketh thou the sweet milk of her udder. And nothing evil grow in thee any longer, unless it be the evil that grow out of the conflict of thy virtues. My brother, if thou be fortunate, then wilt thou have one virtue and no more. Thus goes thou easier over the bridge. Illustrious is to have many virtues, but a hard lot. And many a one have gone into the wilderness and killed himself, because he was aware of being the battle and battlefield of virtues. Okay, question then is, if our master is wisdom, why do we live in a world of hate, of evil, of sin? And the answer is, because virtue must come from vice. Good can only come from evil. Okay? To live in good forever is to live in ignorance. Okay? We are born in the drush so that we may discover Asha. From our struggles, we will discover what truly good is. And that's a gift that God has given us. To grow, to live in a time of evil so that we ourselves may create good for humanity. Okay? That's the central message of this. Without vice, there can be no virtue. And to have one virtue itself is not enough. You must be constantly in a battle to create more and more virtue. Okay? So if you are a man of sin or a woman of evil, be thankful, because now is your opportunity to be a star, a sun that through transformation of oneself can brighten the world, okay? And when you do that, you transform the world. And then after you do that, your next battle is to go and transform someone else, or to look deeper and discover the evil in you, okay? So don't worry about the world itself. Just worry about you yourself, because within yourself is a universe of evil that can be transformed into a universe of good. So one really important thing I have to say is that this is not Buddhism, okay? The structure and the framework are very similar, but what Zoroastrianism fundamentally says is that compassion is not enough, okay? You have to act, because justice is about action. If you see injustice, you must speak out. You can't be like, oh, I'm indifferent because I'm compassionate. Okay? That's not enough. You have to act out. And that's why people who believe in this religion were so creative, okay? Because they believe in action. Being indifferent is simply it's basically being complicit in the system, all right? All right. Ye tell me, life is hard to bear, but for what purpose shall you have your pride in the morning and your resignation in the evening? Life is hard to bear, but do not affect to be so delicate. We are all of us fine sumpter asses and she-asses, okay? What we have in common with a rosebud, which trembleth because a drop of dew hath formed upon it. It is true that we love life, not because we are wont to live, but because we are wont to love. Love is Asha, right? We always want to achieve Asha. There is always some madness in love, but there's always also some method in madness. And to me also, who appreciate life, the butterflies and soap bubbles and whatever is like them amongst us, seem most to enjoy happiness. To see those light, foolish, pretty, lively little sprites flit about, that moves Zoroaster to tears and songs. I should only believe in a God that would know how to dance. And when I saw my devil, I found him serious, thorough, profound, solemn. He was a spirit of gravity. Through him, all things fail. Okay, so what Nietzsche hates is organized religion. Because organized religion, it is very serious, very somber. It basically wants to enslave us, right? It's like, don't do anything bad, don't drink, don't smoke, don't have sex, or you'll burn in hell, okay? That's very serious. And what Zarathustra and what Nietzsche is saying is that that's not what Asha is, man. Asha is to recognize that the world is beautiful, that our master is all merciful, all forgiving, all love, all compassion. And you must delight in the world, because that's why he created us, okay? So the only way to survive this world of evil is to recognize that beauty is everywhere around us. And it's our responsibility to discover this beauty and to celebrate this beauty, okay? Dance, sing, make love, laugh, smile. That's what life is about, okay? If a priest is telling you, hey, meditate for your life, because only through that will you avoid sin, he's a devil, man. Okay? Because he's denying you your free will. He's denying you your capacity to love, to seek Asha yourself. Okay? But one day will the solitude weary thee. One day will thy pride yield and thy courage quail. Though one day cry, I'm alone. One day will those see no longer thy loftiness and see too closely thy lowliness. Thus solemnity itself will frighten thee as a phantom. Thou will one day cry, all was false. So life is a constant struggle, okay, between hope and tragedy. There are some days when you will be very hopeful, but then some days when you'll be very depressed. That's just the process of life. And that's the process of wisdom, okay? To seek wisdom, you always have to constantly destroy yourself. You have to destroy the world around you. And it's a never-ending process of pain and suffering and tragedy, but it will gradually lead you to enlightenment. What's really important is to act, okay? To seek self-destruction. So another way of saying this is always assume that whatever you know, no matter how truthful, is probably wrong. And to go and negate yourself, okay? It also means leaving your family, leaving your comfort zone. All right. A heretic wilt thou be to thyself, Okay, a heretic is someone who doubts yourself, right? Saying, everything I've known is wrong, okay? So another way of saying this, and I know it's hard to understand, is you come to my class for a semester, and everything I teach you, you're like, wow, this makes a lot of sense, okay? And every day you're excited, you learn a lot. But at the end of the semester, what you want to say is, everything I learned this semester is wrong. So I'm going to learn for myself. I'm going to negate everything I've learned and believe everything I've learned is deceitful so that I can rebuild my own knowledge. And through that process, will you actually achieve enlightenment, okay? The truth is, it has to be to you. There can be no truth for everyone. The truth has to be for you, and you must fight for it every day, okay? Ready must thou be to burn thyself in thy own flame, okay? You must destroy yourself. How could thou become new if thou have not first become ashes? Do you understand? To live is to die. If you really want to understand, you must first destroy everything that you think you understand in order to build a new understanding. Though lonesome one, though go the way of the creating one, a God will thou create for thyself out of the seven devils. Though lonesome one, thou goes the way of the loving one. Thou loves thyself, and on account despise thou thyself, as only the loving one despise. To create desire the loving one because he despise. What know he of love who have not been obliged to despise just what he loved? Okay, this is a really hard concept to understand, but in the Buddhist tradition, it's like, avoid anger. No. Embrace your anger. Embrace your hate. Because hate and love go together. Anger and calm go together, okay? So by going to one extreme, you can now embrace the other extreme. And your life is a constant struggle between these two different extremes. When you negate yourself, when you move into nothingness, you can only move into ignorance and slavery. Okay, does that make sense? You are born of two natures. You must let these two natures fight, okay? All right. When Zarathustra had spoken these words, he paused like one who had not said his last word, and long did he balance the staff doubtfully in his hand. At least he spoke thus, and his voice had changed. I now go alone, my disciples. Ye also now go away, and alone, so will I have it. Verily, I advise you, depart from me and guard yourselves against Zarathustra. And better still, be ashamed of him. Perhaps he have deceived you. The man of knowledge must be able not only to love his enemies, but also hate his friends. Okay? You want true knowledge? You can learn from me, but at the end, we must leave each other. And you must say, he's now my enemy. I must now destroy him. If I really want to be myself, I need to destroy my teachers in order to discover my true self. Okay? And as you can imagine, most people don't want to do this. Most people just want to cling to their mother, want to cling to the teacher. But you can never achieve true Asha if you do this. Okay? Ye love your virtue as a mother loved her child, but when did one hear of a mother wanting to be paid for her love? It is your dearest self, your virtue. The ring's thirst is in you. To reach itself again, struggle every ring and turn itself. And like the star that go out, so is every work of your virtue. Ever is its light on its way and traveling. And when will it cease to be on its way? Thus is the light of your virtue still on its way, even when its work is done. Be it forgotten and dead, still its ray of light live and travel, okay? So when we die, our bodies decompose. But what's still left is our virtue, okay? That's who we are, our virtue. All that good we've done in the world, all the knowledge, all the enlightenment, all the emotions that we've generated, okay? That will be eternal. And so we must embrace this nature and become virtue itself, okay? Being human is to be first and foremost virtuous, to seek Asha. For this is the truth. I've departed from the house of the scholars, and the door have I also slammed behind me. Too long did my soul sit hungry at their table. Not like them have I got the knack of investigating as a knack of nut cracking. Freedom do I love and the air over fresh soil. Rather would I sleep on oxskins than on their honors and dignities. I am too hot and scorched with thine own thought. Often is it ready to take away my breath. Then have I to go into the open air and away from all dusty rooms. But they sit cool in the cool shade. They want everything to be merely spectators, and they avoid sitting where the sun burns on the steps. Like those who stand in the street and gape at the passers-by, thus do they also wait and gape at the thoughts which others have thought, okay? So this is a radical idea, but it's very true. You go to university not to learn how to think, but to fall into ignorance, okay? Why? Because the professors there, the priests there, they have departed from reality and they've chosen to live a life of comfort, of ease, of pleasure. And as a result, they can't know anything. True knowledge can only be found in the everyday, in the mundane, with ordinary people. That's where God is. Okay? Universes are constructed to be away from God. They are temples for the comfort of priests. So if you want true knowledge, go out into the world and talk to ordinary people. Suffer. Okay? All right, so that's it, okay? So now you can understand the beauty and power of Zarathustra. And I really do believe this. I really believe that Nietzsche was channeling Zarathustra. But he was channeling in a way for the common mind, okay? Because the thing about Asha is that it's always changing, all right? The Asha that was true 3,000 years ago is not the Asha that's true for us today, all right? And what's really important to understand is that Asha is constantly becoming. So you have to constantly work towards it. There's no end point to Asha, all right? And Asha is going to be different for everyone. But if everyone's moving towards Asha, then the world becomes a more virtuous, a better place, and a more just place. Okay? So, any questions, guys? All right. So, last class, I gave a lecture on the Bible. And I made a mistake in my lecture. So, in my discussion about the story of the patriarchs, between the love story of Rachel and Jacob, I said that Jacob had to work 7 years for Rachel after his marriage to Leah. But as this Substack subscriber, Cole, tells me, actually, that's not what the Bible says. The Bible says that Laban, the father, gave Rachel to Jacob right away. But then he had to work 7 years to pay off that debt. Okay, so thank you to Cole for correcting the error. In fact, I probably made a lot of small errors in my talk last class. And I obviously make a lot of mistakes every class, okay? So I apologize for that. But the thing about this class, and it's really important for us to remember, is that this is a class not about answers, it's about questions, okay? So what makes this class interesting and special is that we're always asking the hard questions. What does it mean to be human? Where do we come from? Why are we here? Where are we going? Okay? We're always asking these questions because these are questions that actually matter for us. Okay? That's the first thing. Second thing is that I'm constantly in the process of becoming. I'm constantly trying to discover the answers. And so for me, this is a journey. So for example, Zarathustra is a revelation to me. Before, I didn't know about Zarathustra. And I made a lot of mistakes. So for example, I said that Christianity was the first monotheistic religion last semester. And now I recognize that's wrong. It's actually Zoroastrianism, okay? So I'm constantly in the process of discovery, of becoming. And what's really important is that we continue to speculate. We continue to explore together. All right? And so if you don't like what I say this class, or you don't like my opinion, just wait a year or two and I'll probably change my opinion. Okay? Because that's what true knowledge is about. If you really want to pursue knowledge, you must be willing to, as Nietzsche, as Zarathustra says, you constantly need to destroy yourself, to burn yourself into ashes so that you may build yourself anew. Okay? And that's what the process of real education